10 days of US and Israel's war with Iran has triggered a fuel supply crisis. Leaders from the Group of Seven, the G7 and International Energy Agency officials, they met in Brussels to discuss the potential release of strategic oil reserves. Finance ministers from Germany, France, Spain and others, they held talks on the matter with UK leader Rachel Reeves attending the discussion virtually. Now, for the G7 bloc, the option to release close to 400 million oil barrels is open, but no decision has been taken yet.
You saw the French declaration that we are now also keeping open the option of drawing on national oil reserves. Now is not the right time, but we, including Germany, are open to doing so in a coordinated process at the appropriate time.
We agree to monitor the situation on the markets very closely, the impact on the macroeconomic situation of our countries, of course, but also the day-to-day impact on our citizens, who are directly affected, notably by the rise in fuel prices. We will be watching developments closely. We are ready to take all necessary measures, including drawing on strategic stock reserves in order to stabilize the markets.
G7 is part of the 32 member countries comprising the IEA. Collectively, the bloc holds approximately 1.24 billion barrels in public strategic reserves. This decision isn't under consideration. It is to discharge 25% to 30% of the total global emergency stockpile. If finalized, this would be the largest release since the IEA's inception in 1974. It would dwarf the 120 million barrel release during the 2022 Ukraine crisis. The US alone holds roughly 416 million barrels in its strategic petroleum reserve, while Japan and other members maintain stocks equivalent or at least 90 days of net imports. And joining me live from Casablanca, Morocco, is Hafid Boutaleb. He is a geopolitics and international relations analyst at the AOB Group. Hafid, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks so much for joining me. The oil crisis, it is here. And this is something that had been anticipated. If this war continues, it's now the 10th day, and countries around the world, they are understanding the reasons behind why this is becoming a crisis. And for some countries, it already has become one. Now, for the G7 to be considering dipping into their reserves, that includes the US. Do you feel the US had anticipated this kind of a backlash from the ongoing war that has been started from US and Israel?
Well, yes, as you said, there is now a oil shock, and the United States have surprisingly did not do anything in concrete to save their economy from the backlash that now they are suffering from. Obviously, what's going on is that there is a reason why the name of this operation is different from USA and Israel. In Israel, it's the roar of the lion, and in USA, it's the epic fury. Obviously, the long-term objectives are absolutely not the same. That's the main reason why we can see now this rise in oil prices, and maybe even the barrel could hit $200 soon, even in March. The Israelis are explicitly targeting energy infrastructures in Iran. For example, the attack on the 30 oil depots near Tehran this Saturday. That's a thing that has upset heavily in the White House, because Donald Trump wants to protect the oil. He doesn't want to wipe it out. And it seems that every Israeli strike on energy infrastructure serves the Israelis' interest, while directly undermining American ones and global interest ones even further. Today, the major issue is not even oil itself; it's the whole global trade. The very large carriers, freight rates went up by 50%, according to Lloyd's List, which is the international data service provider specialized in global shipping. And a lot of consequences will be related to these 1,000 ships now stuck in the Hormuz Strait, or near the Hormuz Strait in the Arab Persian Gulf, with $20 billion goods stuck there. And some even now are trying to bypass, as Financial Times have unveiled, by changing or adopting digital camouflage and changing the transponder data to avoid the attack of the Islamic Republic global guardian of Revolutionary Guard. So this situation will escalate even more, and it shows how the United States lacked vision in dealing with the Iranian issue. It seems that maybe these events that took place on January, which were dramatic, of course, with thousands of Iranians getting shot, gave a misleading interpretation of what the Iranian people could do in case of foreign attack. The Donald Trump administration thought the foreign attack might push the Iranians for a final push toward the regime change. But what's happening in the ground is the opposite. The Iranians, of course, went back home waiting for better days because their daily life is worsening. And I think that when they saw the level of repression now by the regime and this blind attack on their country, this doesn't encourage them to go further in protests.
So I understand, Hafid, and also in the days leading up to the preemptive strikes, Donald Trump was already heard saying that he's surprised Iran has not capitulated yet on the negotiation table. And fast forward to today, where the Supreme Leader was killed on the first day itself, and then there is already a new Supreme Leader in Iran, and the fight continues. Iran has not capitulated even now. It is still firing missiles across West Asia at this point. Turkey being the latest one, Qatar, Bahrain, they all reported strikes from drones and missiles. At this point, if I just go back to the oil aspect, Trump is saying it's a short-term aspect what's happening. But if they were to dip into their reserves, that's 25% to 30%. A dip like that has never happened. Even in 2022, the last time that they had to dip into their reserves, it wasn't at this scale. Now, how long do you feel US will be able to hold if they have to dip into their own reserves? How long do you feel that clock is there for the US to continue with this fight? Because Iran seems to be in it. They're giving statements like 6 months, 10 years. Okay, if we keep statements aside, but they still have those low-cost drones to continue this fight.
Yes, of course, Iran now, by choosing this new supreme guide, who is the son of the previous ones, Mojtaba Khamenei, and he is known as being more radical than his father. And Donald Trump said clearly that he's upset of this decision. This is not going in de-escalating. The Iranians sent a clear message that they want to go further in escalation, and they are looming for long-term war, and they know that in this war they are more opposed to Israel, that also has a long-term agenda for Iran, which is closer to what we have seen in Syria for 15 years, meaning the Israelis want a civil war to push toward a regime change, and they want to foster local minorities against the central power in Tehran. So this would lead to 15, 20 years long war and a situation that would undermine the whole Middle East. This is not what the Americans want. They thought by killing the Supreme Guide, this would weaken the chain in command, but apparently his son was more in charge than him because of his old age, and this would have been more efficient by killing his son in the American perspective to reach rapid objectives. Now there are three options, I would say. Because you asked how long it can last. Chris Wright said, the USA Secretary for Energy, stated clearly today or yesterday that the $3 barrel or gallon price, standard price in the United States is an objective for them, and it's going to be reached again, or this price will come back again in few weeks, meaning that the Americans are clearly now considering the next weeks differently from the rest, from the long term. What they consider is probably attempting to kill the new supreme leader, to suppress him, and to attack massively the RGC, the guards, the Basiji and the Pasdaran. So the Pasdaran and Basijis would be heavily targeted in the next weeks, and with an attempt to reach directly the supreme leader. This is the first option. If it works, this could help Iran move forward toward a second republic, and having more moderate mullahs with still supreme leaders, but not having the same power. The essential power would be held by a president, and that option of second republic could work. It's not a regime change, but it's not keeping power in the hands of the more radical conservative mullahs as it is now in Iran. But I think this is very hard to know if
exactly.
If it's or not.
You know, given the kind of objectives that US had come in on, and most recently Marco Rubio said it's their missile program, which is the key objective, to decimate their missile program. Now there's no mention of the nuclear program. So, you know, as far as the objectives are concerned for these preemptive strikes in this war, it has remained a question mark. US says that they are very clear on what they want to achieve, but for a visible victory for the US, they need a change in regime, and that doesn't seem to be happening at all, because it's been a fairly fluid transition from one supreme leader to the next, and who's to say it may just happen again if the US now targets the current supreme leader. But Iran has a new head, the fight continues, they were expected to capitulate till now, that has not happened, and a change in regime seems like a far cry at this point, given the way the IRGC and the supreme leader and the Council of Leaders, it has held together and continued with the fight, even when they did not have a supreme leader for the course of the first week of this war. Let's wait and watch. Hafid, thanks so much for joining us. That's all the time we have for this. We'll need to quickly go on to other updates regarding West Asia and the emerging conflict. Hafid, look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you.